All right.
Happy Friday. It's rainy and miserable here in Pennsylvania. I don't know how it is in Utah, but
Oh, it's fine. It's been nice weather all the time, like this week, like 70 degrees, so I'll take it.
dude, we woke up the other morning, it was 32 again. It's like, what the heck? So I
Yeah.
got back from Texas from that visiting that software I told you I was going to go see, and it was like cold again. So, but
Here, the end is here for Arizona. We are going to be in like 101 this weekend.
Oh my gosh.
you
It's
can keep
it's
it.
here. It's here.
You can keep it. So
So I
yeah.
kind of miss that. I used to live in Ahwatukee for a while. That's
Oh, okay, yeah.
Phoenix. Yeah, yeah.
I'm in
I'd
Gilbert,
rather
so
have the heat than the cold. I'll take that any
I'm just
day.
on the other side of the freeway from there.
All right, nice. Well, let's welcome everybody officially. Thanks so much for joining us here for another. We used to call it Q&A with Jim and Jim, but now it's more of a community thing. So it's kind of like the self-storage community meetup. Fill in the blank, we'll call it something like that. But I appreciate everyone jumping on and being here on time. Again, if you're here, if you can turn your camera on, great. If not, don't have to. But it's always nice to see everyone's faces. And this is just very kind of free flowing. It's not like it's a webinar or bullet point presentation. It's kind of a free flowing conversation of what's been going on in your self-storage world last couple of weeks. If something is going on, question, ask. That's kind of why we have a group collective effort. One of us probably has something to help you point in the right direction or go from there. It's been a little bit, if you don't mind, I think I would like to just take 5 minutes. We'll do this like AA style. Just say, hey, what's your name? What you do in the self-storage industry? We'll kind of bounce around if you don't mind. Jim, come on, co-host. Let's just start with you.
Yeah, what's going on lately? Jim Mooney from Freedom Storage Management. We got 30 plus stores. We're running back and forth. Actually, I just told you, Jim, earlier before went live that for the last 3 days I've been working in a store because we're a little short staffed. So I've been up here in our Greencastle location working with Jess and running through the processes and doing the things we're gotta go through. So it's always eye opening for me and enlightening when I get back in the store and I enjoy it a lot. It's fun and get to see what's going on and see what we can do. But it's been a good week. I was in Texas earlier this week with the guys from Monument looking at their software and tell you what, I was highly impressed with what they got going on. I'm really waiting. Can't wait for this thing to morph out and work through all the APIs. And I think they have a really good platform that they're going to, shock a few people with and really have another option for PMS software out there. So it was good to see that. I mentioned to Dan Cosgrove, I was literally last night in the hotel just doing our last round of mystery shops with our stores, and we were all 85, 90, 90, 100 plus. So I mean, I sent an email to my stores last night. Every one of them got logged in. Everyone got called back multiple times. All the questions got answered. So I mean, I know it's a program we utilize a lot, and we talk about it several times on here. And I know Dan's on here today, but mystery shopping for me is a godsend. It's a key. It's one of the things we talk about when I consult all the place. So
That's cool.
over to Jennifer Bowman. She's next on the screen for me.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Bowman. I'm with Right Move Self Storage. We do third-party management. I'm getting ready to go to the Arizona show next week and then Vegas the following. And that'll be fun.
Nice. We'll see you around.
And as far as like Jim was saying, as far as the mystery shops go and all of that, I'm super impressed where they've gone with it for a call center and just the capabilities of it. And we are looking into it, and it's definitely impressive. Dan's done a great job.
That's great. Yeah, we'll keep it running here. Again, we'll just say, introduce yourself, what you do in the storage industry. We'll keep it moving. Jeff Morgan, you're next to my screen here. Sorry, you're muted. You have to take yourself off.
Always forget that. Jeff Morgan, Compass Building Systems. We are a national builder of self-storage across the eastern United States, really. Been doing it for 30 years. Had worked for Janus and DBCS, so I'm very familiar with doors and hallways. And so
Nice.
saw your invite, so I decided I'd jump in.
Thank you for being here. Again, this is owners, vendors, operators, managers, that's everybody in storage. So glad you're here. Mary Karsten.
Hi, my name is Mary Karsten. I'm in the Springfield, Missouri area. I have been working in self-storage for the last 8 years. I've learned a lot from Jim. The owner has moved me from when he hired me. I didn't know until later that he hired me to be here until he could get the property sold. Now he is using me as his bargaining chip for whenever I turn 65 and he sells the property. He has moved me up from being this temporary person I didn't know about to being in charge of marketing. And I make reference to doing a lot of things like Jim, yay. I was able to pitch to him several times before he went in to work on getting signed up with Sparefoot. So I don't want you guys' heads to swell so big that we can't see you on the screen, but I make reference to the Jim and Jim team every time we have a meeting. So thanks a lot for your insight and your wisdom and helping me to grow my personality, grow my my worthiness, my wealth in the self-storage industry, or whatever kind of nice accolades you can come up with that I missed out saying.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm glad to show up. And again, we do this. It's nice to put faces, to names and things like that, and just give everyone a chance to meet each other, kind of a thing, not just have like a webinar type of a thing. So I appreciate you guys being here. Who's up? Dan Cosgrove.
Unmuted. All right. Yeah, I'm Dan Cosgrove, CEO of Mercantile Systems. We provide data collection through mystery shopping, user audits, internal audits, and for this industry as well as a lot of other ones. I'll be at ISS. The other biggest thing that we're seeing and we're doing is AI. And so we've deployed and developed custom AI training videos based on recorded mystery shops, your call center data, your call center recordings, and those also come with role plays. And so it's actually interactive. It's so much different than what you've ever seen before. If you haven't seen it, super cool. We started a new company called Evelyn. That'll be actually the forefront of that in the industry. We'll be introducing that more as we go along. So any questions you have around data collection, mystery shop, AI, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Cool. I love the AI stuff. I got a little taste of it when I talked to you last week. That's awesome. All right, Dave Reed.
Good morning. Good morning. Dave Reed here, Pacific Northwest. It is beautiful here today. Sun is shining, so we are all happy people over here. I work for Coast Property Management. Been there for 22 years. Been in property management for 25 years and been in self-storage for 15. So started in the apartment world and saw the light and moved into storage. So I love it. And I am a storage nerd and I love this call. It gives me a big, it's this call and coffee. It's a great way to start my day. So thank you so much for hosting these calls.
Yeah,
Gentlemen, I appreciate it.
It's chill. It's fun. I think we're all storage nerds. So yeah, that's why we're here. James Franz. Sorry, I got you on mute.
Yep. Hey, I'm James. I'm the regional manager for Pocket Self Storage, which is a small, 8 facilities provider in Western Canada. My major project last year, which has been like 355 days, was to convert a couple of our facilities to remote, which has had its ups and downs, but gone well. I'm sitting in one of them today. This meeting timing is nice for me because I'm usually on the remote properties on Fridays, so I can just sort of pop in and listen in the background. And my project for this year is to centralize our call taking. Right now, we kind of have a distributed system where like it's sort of lined up to each property, which is really great because there's a lot of redundancy and you're always going to get somebody and you're going to get a person who knows that facility very well. But my challenge is that it's inconsistent and I'm trying to pick up some third-party management contracts this year and I just can't afford to have an inconsistent experience. Plus the market is tighter than it's been, so we got to be sharper than we've been. So centralizing that, like I said, I use Call Potential for it. And I stop in on these calls when I have questions. And I'm curious today if, like, maybe after introductions, how has the 2-factor authentication on SiteLink or Storable been going for people? I might kind of need to turn it on for like PCI compliance, but the amount of times I log into storable every single day is, if I had to two-factor it every single time, it would be horrible, and their login experience kind of sucks. Sorry. So if the two-factor is working good, then I'll turn it on, and if not, then I won't.
We'll come to you right after that. Remind me as soon as we're done.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I've been using it for a while.
Okay, we'll come back. Pamela Shepherd. There you go.
There we go. Well, good morning. Good morning. It's a great morning to be with J&J, and I also work. I work for Dave Reed at Coast Property Management, and in Skagit County, which is about 90 minutes north of Seattle. It's going to be a hot Friday night because the new SSA magazine showed up yesterday. So yeah, it's great. I just recently moved into my new residence. A new apartment was built for me, and I'm quite excited about that. I love living on site, just immersing myself in self-storage. So I too am a self-storage nerd. I'm proud.
You're in it deep now. You're living on site.
I am.
Thank
you.
James Elkins.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Hey, everyone. So I'm James Elkins, the Director of Business Operations over at Monument, a software platform based out of Dallas. And yeah, we've had a really fun week with the other Jim here, Mr. Mooney. Really enjoyed his feedback and getting designs his way. It's going to be a lot of fun this year. We're headed to Arizona on Tuesday and then driving the display booth to ISS. So it's going to be about 10 days on the road, but immersing ourselves in the industry. It's going to be fun.
Welcome to conference season.
Yep.
All right. Garrett B. You're on mute. There we go.
Yeah, I'm an operations guy that's turned into a developer and an investor. Have about 20 years of experience in the industry, so I've worked at a myriad of companies from REITs to non-REITs, and I've taken a lot of that knowledge and used that now to kind of buoy the investments that I'm working with partners and then with myself in developing ground up builds primarily. We do have a few acquisitional targets, but for the most part, we're building ground up to specification that fits our needs within the varied markets that we're particularly looking at. And one of the things that I think that I take away from the industry is you look at the past 20 years, and there's been a plethora of technology advancements that has really upped the game of self-storage in terms of how do we look at customers, how do we look at data, and how do we take all that information and really quantify that to help us make decisions. So these types of community chats are really important because they kind of highlight the differences in different markets across the country with different ideas. And you can take a lot of those things and kind of integrate them into where you're concurrently located at, because there's always things to learn. And I think this is a good way for us to discuss those items of concern.
Great. Glad you're here. I think I need more coffee. I forgot it's almost Easter time. I was looking at your background. I'm like, it looks like it's like a roadside memorial. I'm like, nope, it's Easter. Okay. I was off. All right. What do we got next? David Chi.
Hey, nice to meet everyone. Garrett, writing along what you kind of was mentioning about data, I work for a company called Notify, based here in San Francisco, been a part of the tech industry for at least over a decade now. And what they say, data is king. But hope to see everyone over at ISS Las Vegas. We are super happy, at least for me, to be a part of this community. Everyone's super nice and inviting. We partner with a lot of folks like the Storage Marts, the Otters, the Prestige self-storages around data aggregation, specifically between PMS and everything operations, from brand standard audits, walkthroughs, mergers and acquisitions. It could be anything, right? So we basically streamline everything operations to help increase NOI and speed up the unit turnaround times for your facility. But yeah, thanks again. Thanks, Jim, for allowing me to introduce myself.
No, of course. So we don't do this every single time, but it's been a minute, so I want to give a chance to have everyone say hi and introduce themselves. Who do we got next? My screen keeps changing. Eva.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eva Chavez. I've been working in storage going on 10 years now. Started my own business 2 years ago, but I started at a property management company, moved over to a tech startup company, then started my own business about 2 years ago. I do marketing for the industry. I've been doing marketing for the industry for 9 years, but I've actually been marketing for 15 years. I fell into it and I've kind of fallen in love with this industry so much so that I kind of stayed here like everybody else, became a storage nerd. My company is solely dedicated to the storage industry. And I have everybody here, like Jim and so many other people on this call to thank for welcoming me with open arms. And with that, I'll just pass it on to whoever is next. Thank you, guys.
You're always a wealth of knowledge. And I think like everybody, that's a common theme. We all kind of fell into storage.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Karen Lorona? You're on mute. You're on mute. Got to unmute. See it?
Lower left-hand side.
There you go.
Is that good?
Yep.
You're good.
Okay. Karen, nice to see everybody. I've been in the storage industry for about 15 years. We buy junkers and then fix them up and flip them. So I have 2 facilities. I'm on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and my partner and I are so busy, we get it cash flowing and then we forget about it. But now we're wanting to boost the vacancies up to 80 to 90%, and we're at 60. And we have like 4.5 months because we have a buyer that is going to do an option with us to buy if we get to that level. So I need help with management.
Okay. Definitely leverage this group, ask some questions, put it in chat as well. And there's some people here, well, including myself, we can do some one-on-ones or really dig in to help you as well. So
Yeah.
again, here to leverage the group. All right, move on here. David Richmond. There you go.
Hi, I'm David Richmond. I own Talcott Mountain Self Storage in Simsbury, Connecticut. It's our 3rd facility. We've sold the previous 2, built it from the ground up, and we're just over 2 years old. And one of our challenges, we're in Connecticut, Simsbury, is we're at 60% occupancy. We have no drive-up units available. Everything we have available right now is in our climate buildings. And the genius is, I won't mention their name on this call, but the genius is their name starts with an F, and they're in Florida. Okay, so maybe you guys can put that together. FAR. The geniuses that designed our facility for us, really probably should never have we should have never built as many climate units as we have, because obviously it's been difficult renting them. Yes, we're coming out of winter. However, that is that's our challenge. The other challenge is I get a call every week from someone who wants to buy our facility. These guys are driving me crazy. Okay.
Every day.
Well, I didn't want to say, Jim, every day. It's every hour, for crying out loud.
Yep.
So anyhow, I'm looking forward to getting some input and advice from all of you. Thank you.
Cool.
And this is not my regular business. It's my real estate investment. I own a mergers and acquisitions firm.
Well, David, I can tell you having all climate controlled can be a good thing if you market the right way. So yeah, let's have a conversation because there are things we can do to help with that.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Brian.
Hot mess.
Brian Mullen. You're off mute, but I can't hear you. It's all right. There you go. We'll give it one more shot here. Nope, can't hear you.
Not at all.
Oh,
There you go.
There you go.
Okay. My mic keeps going in and out. My hub is bad or something like that. I apologize.
You're good.
I never know until I show up. Yeah, Brian Vandermeulen. I'm based out of Phoenix, Arizona. I'm a broker. Been in and out of storage since 2008. Looking to acquire and develop. Own some, develop some. Don't have anything currently. Making offers. I'm making an offer again this morning as we speak, and for a conversion project. And yeah,
That's great. No, you're in it too. Okay. No, thank you. You're always very consistent showing up, so I always appreciate that.
oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
It's great. Who else we got next?
Jim, the next one there is Gene Clemens, but he's labeled as me for some reason.
Oh, all right. There we go. Go ahead.
Well, I'd like to say hello to everybody. Hopefully you hear me. It's been a struggle. I'm not a Zoom person.
You're
But,
good. You're a pro.
You're good, Jim.
Nonetheless, I wanted to say one of the earlier speakers had mentioned that they fell into the business and they stay because they like the people and they like the industry. And that's 100% me. Some of you may or may not know that I'm a supplier of text messaging through SiteLink. And I have found some of the greatest people to work with. Jim, this is the first time I'm working with you, but my friend, Mr. Mooney, we get along quite well.
Good.
Known each other a long time.
No, I'm glad you're here, and now you're a Zoom pro, so you got this. You know how you do it next time. You're awesome. Thank you for being here. Couple more, and we'll keep moving here. Kevin Summers.
Hello, good morning. Yeah, this is the first time for me joining one of these.
Nice.
I am a software engineer by trade. However, I was looking at ways to invest and get into this industry. Turns out it's really hard to buy in this space, I think, because these types of businesses they can be automated to a certain degree. And I think that's really appealing. I promise I didn't call you David Richmond and try to buy any of your facilities. But yeah, just searching around for the last couple of years, I haven't found anything that the numbers match up on. So I actually just bought a piece of land a couple months ago, and I'm currently in the process of rezoning it. So learning all my local zoning ordinance and expectations and getting to know those people and everything. So hopefully this goes through at the end of May, and then it'll be on to the next steps of finding builders and getting engaged with engineers and everything.
Kevin, I hope you did a feasibility study to make sure the land you're buying is good for storage, because unfortunately we've all met buyers that buy a piece of land and build on it and it's not right. So hopefully you did a feasibility study on that market to make sure that where you're going can substantiate what you're trying to put there.
Yeah, it's a good call out, Jim. So I haven't done a feasibility study, but I spoke with 3 different people that do feasibility studies, and they've all done like what I'll say a preliminary study. And so that gave me enough confidence to buy the land. But before I build anything, I'll get a full feasibility study done. I think the hardest part for me was the land was in a great location, at least agnostic of self-storage, and I had to move quickly to buy it. I could not get the sellers to agree to any kind of a contingency to let me do the feasibility study first. So it was kind of, I'll buy it at the right price regardless. And if it's not great for self-storage, then I'll sell it and make money that way.
Well, if you need we know a couple guys that are good at that stuff. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would be interested to sync up with you. I'm more focused on the boat and RV storage aspect of it, just based on location and proximity to those activities and what's available. So I'd love to sync up with somebody that specializes in boat and RV storage feasibility studies.
Yeah, I know a couple. It's a different animal, so I know a couple that point in the right direction. So yeah, let me know.
Can I make a quick comment? I was just on the phone with a guy that has 1,000 units, a boat and RV that they've been developing over the past couple of years. Their feasibility studies from 2 years ago. Their rents are nowhere near where they need to be, and neither is their occupancy now that they're coming online. So just be conservative as can be. Like Jim said, if it doesn't work that way, what else can you do with the land, right? And how, because they're renting their smallest units, I think, at $19, and still very slow, and they're in the Carolinas, and they're near a lake. So
it's a good call out.
Food for thought.
Yeah.
All right, Debbie Downer. No, that's good. No, we want that though. I'm serious.
Because been there, done there. If you can't get it zoned,
Exactly.
I saw someone say they spent $150,000 on fees with the county in 3 years. Now, granted, it was California, and they told them no, and it wasn't storage, but know that going in before you close on a piece of land. I know you say you couldn't have got that chance for the seller, but sometimes it's better to walk away than it is to go through a process that you're end up holding the bag. And it gets way too expensive. Yeah.
Brian, I can tell you a funny one. I met a guy 2 years ago at one of the conferences. He was building 100,000 square feet of storage in a small town. I said, "Who did your feasibility study?" He said, "Fees of what?" I'm like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Who's building?" He goes, "Well, my brother-in-law's got a Bobcat and a backhoe." And I'm just like, I can't help that. So yeah.
That and your friend is an engineer and becomes your partner for engineer work, and all of a sudden they design a place I ran into one, they sold off the front lot to a gas station, which killed their value and their design. And they're like, "Well, we did design it. We're an engineer. We know what we're doing." I'm like, "You're not a storage engineer." You know. Anyway, so those are we've all got stories for development and time and effort and through the process and money lost.
Oh, yeah.
Plenty
of stories.
I think we got one more, and then we'll go back to some questions here. I just call you Guy, but Gaetano, you're up.
Hey guys and gals, my name is Guy Javerone. I run Agentive Storage. I owned and ran and developed and did all the entitlements like we're all talking about, and did that for about 18 years. And again, I like the industry. I like the people in the industry, so I decided to stay in it and help automate for small to mid-level owners. And yeah, I love this meeting every couple weeks here. It's good to see everybody and hear what's going on and help when I can.
Well, appreciate you being here. And again, we don't do this every single time because it does eat up about 30 minutes of the hour, but I think it's good every once in a while to be able to introduce yourself and say hi. So I appreciate that, guys. Let's go back to some of the questions here. Well, we'll go back. James, I promised you to be first. So go back to your question here.
Yeah, I just wanted to know about the two-factor for Storable. Like, does it make you sign in every single time you log in? How long does the two-factor last for? That sort of thing.
Well, Jim, I can tell you, we've been working with it. We were actually one of the first beta testers for it.
Hello,
and,
hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So we were one of the first beta testers for it. We went through a little hiccups. Actually, the last week we went through some hiccups where they reconfigured some of the timing issues. We use SiteLink, of course, and when we did ours, we defaulted the log on time to be 300 minutes. That way we're not logging off, because we run 7 or 8 stores of the property and was logging us off. So once you do that and it goes in, it's going to ask you for the single sign-on. It's going to verify it. But you can also check a box in there where, it doesn't ask you to verify it every 14 to 21 days, something like that. So make sure you got all your settings correct. It's a pain in the butt, but it's working around it has been fine. Once you get the settings where you want it to be, it's pretty easy. There are a few quirks to it, but I mean, I know why they're doing it. I've had a long conversation with Storable about it, but for the most part, we've got it configured well that it does. Like I said, we do ours for 300 minutes, and we might have to log in twice a day now.
300 minutes. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
They're going to roll that out mandatory for everybody?
They will eventually, yes. It's going to be across all the boards, and eventually it's going to be where it's going to have a single log on. So if you're using SiteLink or Sparefoot or Storage or any of those things, it's going to be one universal one. They're going to kind of link together, but they rolled it out with me with SiteLink first. Definitely some hiccups with it in the beginning.
For sure.
But we've smoothed out a lot of them out, and working with Eric Lewis, again, it's a godsend for me. They just fixed the problem yesterday, because I was working a store yesterday, and it kept logging me out, and they finally fixed that. So once we got it fixed, we're good.
Perfect. I mean, you'd have an input on that since you're the SiteLink master. Karen, if you want to come back on and we can talk more about your site, so you want to boost some occupancy, we can kind of go through a little bit of it here if you want.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, go ahead. Kind of tell us what's going on.
I've got about 106 units for each property, plus some retail and an apartment on one of them. All gated, all that's new with the new keypad from Spider Door.
What city are you in, Karen?
One is in Waveland, Mississippi, and the other is in Gaucher, Gautier, Mississippi.
Gautier.
Gautier. It's pronounced Gaucher. And my partner and I, we do other things. We have several hats, realtor and appraiser. Anyway, so that's why we need outside sources to help build this.
What's the name of the facility?
Martin Bluff Storage and Rentals.
Okay, well, I just did a search for you real quick, and on Bing, you came up like 9th or 10th. So you're not really searching well. So this is probably more of an Eva marketing guru question. Have you done all the right things to make sure that you are visible in the right spots?
And then the other company, the one I own by myself, is called Midtown Mini Storage.
And where's that one in?
That's in Waveland. Waveland.
Mississippi.
And you're mentioning you're trying to get it to 80% to be able to sell it off. Is that
right
portfolio or one specific location?
So that last part.
Was it like a portfolio or just one specific location that you're looking to?
Well, they want both of them, and so we promised to get it up. I set the goal for 4.5 months. That might be a little aggressive, but
Well, good thing is you're coming in the spring and summer, so sometimes you can look like a genius just because of the timing of it. But make sure your marketing is in tip-top shape. I would recommend. I'm sure Evil might raise her hand, or I can point to some other directions of getting like an audit site done. Even a
Well, I know-
view
It's like
audit.
you're using ESS.
And I know that in Gaucher, the only one we don't even have a website. We use U-Haul because we have web self-storage. Yeah, so that's number one. We need to get a website. We've been talking to Pug, Storage Pug. We just talked to them a couple days ago.
Right.
I use Easy Storage and for the one in Waveland.
Yeah, that one you got some that ESS site. A lot of the meta tags are not set up correctly, so you're not really showing up there.
Which
And I'm not showing a lot of reviews of either one of them
Yeah,
either.
the
big
Midtown
thing.
Mini.
Yeah, Midtown Mini's got a couple, but they're old. Most of them are old, and there's no so have some pictures up there, which is nice, but there's nothing, no descriptions, no product. There's a lot you could do in the GBP page that Eva, you could probably help her out a lot with to get her a bit more visible, because she's not ranking Midland. She's ranking 7th on Google search, but she's got 11 reviews. She got 5 stars, 4.8, which is great. But when you look at them, they're all not being responded to, and a couple of them are majorly 5, 6, 7 years old. So
yeah, bottom line is you're gonna have to have a little more one-on-one with some of the people.
You need an audit.
Yeah, if Eva
Yeah,
wants to reach out or vice versa, I'd love to do
Yeah,
one.
it's the punchline is you're invisible,
Yeah,
frankly. So you got to figure out your marketing first and do it
Sure.
like yesterday. You don't have a day to spare because we're already in the thick of it now for getting rentals. So you gotta
hey,
do
Jim, look, Jess turned her camera on.
There you go. Ooh, even got the confetti on. All right, it's a rave.
Yeah.
No, speaking of Jess, hold on. I gotta show this real quick. Gotta have fun. Dun, 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 dun.
I feel like I know what you're going to show, Jim.
Of course, you know I'm gonna show.
I love it.
Everyone's been doing like the trends for the action figures and that.
I can tell you, I have not done one.
Mooney.
I will do
hold
one
my-
for you.
Hold my
That's
beer.
what I'll do one for you. There you go.
I got you.
We got
Jess,
that.
should I
He
trust
has
you
a
to do it for me?
bobblehead. Does he really need this to make his head grow any further, Jessica? Come on.
Yes, Jennifer. Look at my guys. Look at my guys. Is that
Forest Reed dudes. Of course, you gotta have bourbon. What else
Look at how big John Manis' head is. Scott Ward looks like look at the head.
He looks like the guy from Breaking Bad. Like we totally think he has a meth.
Walter.
Probably in a storage facility that he owns.
There we go.
There I am.
Love it.
Yeah, that was so fun. I love the trend. And Jim, I know you do a lot with AI.
Yeah, I just did my collector's edition of the ISS Survive the Conference kind of one. So
Hey, that's a
You
great
need
one.
to put a little bit more gray in that hair, dude.
Oh, the thing is, it made me totally gray. I'm like, Jesus, to give me a little bit. Yeah, I had to edit a little bit, but yeah, I did that. There's one more. Yeah, and Alyssa.
Yeah.
Not the ones I could find anyway right off the bat. But it's always fun doing that kind of stuff.
Jim, I did have a question for
I,
Gene since he's on, Gene Clemens, since he's on here for texting, because Gene, you and I've had this conversation, but I think we need to make sure it's out there for everybody. But a lot of people are using Twilio as their text provider. And you and Gene, you gave me some data a couple weeks ago about the importance of making sure you're all configured correctly with your texting. With the 10 DLC, we know they're your favorite people to deal with, but texting is important because we're all using it, and we got to make sure. But Gene, you told me one time that if you do it wrong, that you can get flagged by 10 DLC and they can shut you down, and you'll have a hell of a time getting back on a texting program. Is that true?
Absolutely. There's a couple of items that would get you halted. Okay. There are apparently a couple of commercial URL shorteners that the carriers don't really enjoy you using. And probably not a good idea to name them off right now, avoid any kind of legal problems. But you should be careful about what you're doing when you're doing URL shortening. In terms of just straight out registration, okay, it seems every couple of days, every couple of weeks, 10DLC or the campaign registry, as they now like to be known, strengthen their rules, regulations, and requirements. And that holds up the registration and approval process, but that holds people open to no service, big fines, penalties. And again, that comes to not doing what they'd like you to do, but there's no place any of this stuff is actually written down. You're referred to older materials, and you have to count on your aggregator to provide you the guidance.
Right. Gene, why don't you drop your email or your number in the chat box? That way people who have questions about this, because you're one of the most knowledgeable people I've met dealing with the texting programs. So that if any people on here have a question, or if they're using SiteLink already and want to use your product, I love the fact, and one thing I've done with Gene is, one thing I didn't like about the other ones is I want the text message to come from my number. And Gene, we worked on a program where you can actually utilize our store number as the sending number, which I think is pretty good for opening rates and all that stuff. So if you don't mind, drop your chat, your contact.
I will. Using your store number, I mean, that's an ideal, especially if you've got some senior citizens as part of your customer base, because if they know your office phone number, it's something they've seen in the past, they're familiar with, they're not lax to pick up the phone or open up a text message. But if it's something different, something brand new, all of a sudden the idea, is this some kind of spam? And that's the whole purpose that 10DLC has come to be, is to eliminate or reduce the spam that consumers receive.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
Kevin has a question. Kevin Summers.
Yeah, I'll read it. As I mentioned, I bought this land, so I haven't built anything yet. But when I was doing my own kind of like study before I hire somebody for a feasibility study, I noticed that, and this is in Southeast Indiana, close to Cincinnati, but still in Indiana. Every storage facility within a 10-mile radius does not have a gate. And in fact, most of them don't even have a fence. And I'm wondering, why is that? And is this like a huge potential differentiator for me as I go forward to offer that when nobody else has it?
1000%. You're adding security. You're adding control who's going in and out. You can tell who's going in and out. I always like to put a keypad going in and a keypad going out. I don't like the free exits as much because you can control the flow. But a fence and keypad is definitely something there. One thing I would do, Kevin, in that area, I would randomly shop them, say, hey, you guys don't have a gate. Why not? Just see what they tell you. Some of it could be pure laziness and they don't want to spend the money for it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're trying to sell security and convenience and all that stuff and peace of mind to people, without a gate, it's hard.
Yeah, I did call one of the closer places just to ask them, like, what are their hours of operation? And they said, well, we don't want people after 10. And I said, well, you don't have gate. So how do you even, what do you do there? And they said, well, like, we don't technically stop anybody from coming after 10, but we do have the police that they will sometimes patrol. And if you don't have your contract with you and you're there after 10, you're going to be in big trouble. So I just thought that was interesting.
What area of the country are you looking at?
Southeast Indiana. So it's pretty close to Cincinnati.
So
Like
one of-
30 minutes from Cincinnati, 30 minutes west of Cincinnati.
They get southeast, I'm assuming they get snow.
Yes.
One thing that we did on one of our facilities with the second one we built with the gate is we put a cover on the whole gate. We put we put the gate near one of the end buildings, and then we added an awning over the gate, and then you don't have to shovel the gate out. Because that's if you
nice.
get a lot of snow, it'll jam that gate up depending on if it's a lift or a pullback, and then it causes issues. So just a tip on that.
Kevin, I can tell you, we took all our stores over 24 hours whenever we get them and changed them to 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. across the board, because nothing good happens at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
We're done.
I have had 2 people this week at my locations living in the units that we had to kick out. I've gone for about a year without nothing, and I've had 2 in a week.
We have one we think is. We're trying to catch them. So yeah.
Yeah, so you're exactly right. Doing the gate, yes, it helps filter that out right off the bat. You can sell it, obviously. And if you're going to be doing, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but when you actually do it and have your gate, use that against everybody else. You're only one with security. Put that on your website and kind of use that against everybody else. If they don't have it, use it. Use that to your advantage.
Jim, you see David's question about temperature. It's one of my favorite ones. What temperature for climate controlled? Dude, we set ours in the wintertime to be like 50, 55, 50-ish. And in the summertime, we're like 70, 75. It's not for people to live in, so we don't want to make it that comfortable, but we're like 50-ish to 70-ish, depending on the range where we're at, depending on the building too. But yeah, we don't want it to be where it's like you could be living in it.
Just
Where are you located?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, where are you located, Jim? One other question. Why are there 2 Jim Mooney Juniors on this call? The one that's down at the bottom is much better looking.
I would agree with that too. Yeah. I sent him a link, David. That's why he's probably using my name. I've had stores all over the country. I've had them in California and Texas. We have stores in Texas right now and in Pennsylvania that have climate controlled, Ohio. So even in our stores in Texas, we're setting them to be where it's, the contents are, consistent, but we're not setting where you're not going to walk in and be able to live in there. So. Carol, what were you going to say? I know you got.
I was just going to add. Also, you might want to vary. Some states have requirements of what they consider temperature controlled and not. So just make sure you're within those guidelines, because there are some states that will say under this temperature is not considered temperature control, or above this is not. So just kind of take a quick look at it to make sure you're fine. Because I've seen people who will say, well, I don't turn my AC on until it gets to 90 degrees. Well, some states that's not considered temperature control, climate controlled.
Yeah, dude, I wouldn't go. Yeah. And the other thing, David, I would make sure you do, if you are in a temperature controlled building, make sure if you have thermostats in there that are all locked down with lock boxes that people cannot touch them, because people will go in and change your temperature on you without thinking about it.
Yep. Great advice.
We got about 15 more minutes here, so I'm going to keep going through some of these questions.
Hey, I had Cosgrove. Is it still on here?
Go ahead.
What? Mr. Cosgrove.
Yes, sir.
So I know we had a conversation in SSA in Orlando about the shopping, and I know you had said something that caught my ear, especially now, and is James Francis alluded to earlier with the market being so competitive now with people shopping and all those things. Have you seen an influx in the shopping rate? Because I know I just did a round of mystery calls for 3 companies I'm kind of working with. And the owner owes me drinks and dinner in Vegas because I called 8 of his stores and not a single manager took my name.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll go. That goes back to, and I'm sorry to call it that lady that was talking about Midtown Storage. What I did when we were on hold or when I was on mute is called the location and got the answering system and a recorded call. There's no area on your answering system that says to actually rent. It just says about payments. And so the other part about mystery shopping, and to Jim's point, is, guys, I'll tell you this, and it's not our company. It's measurement. What gets measured gets done. And I can tell you that if you aren't measuring return phone calls, logging in your CRM, following your standards, they're not doing it. And they're not doing it because they don't want to do it. It's because you've got so many things that they're doing: maintenance, ops, sales, marketing, blah, 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 blah. So what you want done, it has to be measured in this market and in all markets we work in. When recessions come, I smile a bit. I don't like the recession part. I know we're going to get busy, and true to form, we're putting on new accounts every week, because what happens is when we're busy, let's go to this industry, 90, 95, 98, 110% full, meaning I'm 100% full and I got 10% in the rears. You don't really care about need to do things because it's flowing through the doors. But when it stops and the funnel stops, like we're seeing today, it's like, oh my God, how do I get people to come through the door? What do I do? My people need to be doing what I'm training them to do, because when they're busy, well, they can get away with it. Now they can't. And so to answer your question, Jim, oh, absolutely. In all industries right now, we're doing this.
So I do have another question for you, because years ago when we were working together, I told you that the lead was not logged into the software. I wanted the shop to be an automatic zero, and you kind of threw a fit at me saying you shouldn't do that. And I said, bullshit, we're going to do that.
No, it wasn't the zero. It was the negative 110% I told you shouldn't do. So Jim didn't say, make it a zero. Jim said, I wanted a negative 10% or 100%. I'm like, dude, you're going to screw all your scoring up and all your analytics. I don't care. I want it this way. So you would see his results and they would drive down because of this negative score.
Functions, you don't see that no more, though.
I know. No. It goes back to what gets measured gets done. You put measurement on it, and not only did you make it a zero, you drove it. You drove it down. So if you can't do that, there's no way you're going to perform. And so it works. It really, really works. It always has.
I told Jim Ross earlier, we just sit around the shops and not bragging on my manager, but we had, I think on the 12 shops I looked at, my average score was a 97.
Yeah, I knew you were at that one store last week, so I called you and shopped you, and you didn't do really well. You guys would have had 100, but your score drove. I'll share you the results.
Bull.
Jim's like, what do you want? What size do you want? Here's the price. I gotta go.
Yeah. That might have been Jim Ross. That wouldn't be me.
Maybe. That just shows that you hold it in such importance, because it is. But you talk about it, you focus on it, like what you just said. What gets measured improves. And Jim, I know you do that all the time with your portfolio and your managers. I mean, you're working in the site right now. You're the example of what to do. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I'll give you guys one hit and then I'll go back on mute. What I'd suggest is that if you don't have it and you need a blank mystery shop, let me know. I'll send it to you. Give it a phone shop to your employee and tell your employee, call my competitor, call your competitor, and tell your employee, hey, I'm going to give you a $5 Starbucks card or something like that. It's probably 10 for a cup of coffee today. Have them call your competitor, act like a customer, and fill out that mystery shop. It's going to get them listening to how someone else does it. And more than likely, they aren't going to do really well, but they're going to go, wow, that really wasn't good. I hear how I sound, or I hear how I should sound. Super easy tool, kind of motivating. And because your people stick around a long time, it could have a lot of impact.
Very cool. That's perfect. I don't want to take too long on this because we only got a few minutes left, but there's I want to make sure we hit everyone's questions. That's put it here in the chat. Something about a death I saw. Who was that?
Me.
David. Yeah. What's up?
So we had someone die 2 weeks ago, and their emergency contact information, the person's not available. They have no family, nobody. So everyone we spoke to said, deal with it like a auction. And I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Why?
So we're not sure what we should do. Because I mean,
why would you not do it like an auction?
What?
Why do you not want to deal with it like an auction?
Because it's all these personal items this person owned, and maybe there is a family member somewhere. So we were thinking of actually hiring an attorney to help us figure out what to do.
No,
Has
I mean,
anyone had a tenant die?
Several.
How
We all
many?
have.
I
How
know
many?
Jim Mooney's probably killed a few tenants, but
I have probably. Don't pay your bill, we're gonna shoot you. But kidding. No, I mean, David. I mean, yeah, you could go that route. We research
Auction.
as much as we can. But there's only so much you can do, and we're gonna treat it like an auction sometimes. I mean, the biggest thing I'll tell you is if you have somebody pass away and you know family come in that want to get in the unit, don't let them do that. I thought that's where you were going at first. Make sure you have it the executor of the will, executor of the estate, something like that. Never let them show up with power of attorney because that dies with the customer. Make sure they probate the estate so that yeah, they tell you who's in charge. But in this case where you don't have anybody, unfortunately, I can tell you I've sold some at auction because we just couldn't find anybody. But that's why having all of context is good. And you can actually one thing you could do, David, would be do a search for the obituary online and see if you see anything in there that might be of information for you. We've done that.
I did funeral home and they wouldn't tell me who paid for the funeral.
really? Wow.
What the obituary say?
I think I'm gonna read it again.
Yeah, I
Thank
would.
you.
Yeah, go through that. I've gone through a few times on the legacy.com kind of a thing. If this guy doesn't have any family, it might be a dead end, but it's worth a shot. Legacy.com, where they post the public obituaries and people make comments. I've done that. Been like, hey, I got a unit here. Anyone put me in the right direction? Just for something like that. It's a long shot. I guarantee you're gonna
Thank you.
end up after 4 months, you're gonna end up selling it like a normal auction kind of a thing. But kudos to you to try to do the right thing and try to find some contact. Uh, at this point, you said there's personal items in there. You can't go in the unit and see if you do see some paperwork. I've done that too. Basically, once someone's dead, yeah,
Maybe the
gotta
tenant's
go
in there
above and beyond
somewhere.
to
Oh,
try to
that's
find some
horrible.
information. What's that?
Kevin said maybe the tenant's in there somewhere. That's pretty. Unfortunately, we've seen that too, dude.
That too. Yes. That was the worst Christmas Eve ever. Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole
You
other
found
story.
Santa?
Yeah, this poor I'll ruin everyone's day. No, this lady, she rolled in the unit, rolled the door down, turned the car on, found her the next morning.
Oh,
Christmas Day.
yeah.
Well, she brought her dog with her. She killed her dog with her. I'm like, dang it. Yeah, that was Christmas. But yeah, whole other thing. Couple things here. I wanted to hit everyone up and let everyone know about this. 1 second. Dun, 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 dun. I've had to update a few things here. People have asked about, backlog of this kind of content, some of the other stuff. So most of you already know this, but I put everything on this link and I'll put it in chat for you. It's free. Go to this link, put in your email, name, then you'll have access to all these kind of courses. It has all of our backlogs of our content here. It's great for managers. A lot of managers are kind of getting new into the industry. I have them go through some of these courses to kind of get a good rundown of everything run in storage. It won't take you more time than that, but play with it, click on the different items, all sorts of stuff. And it's not just me, it's some I've done in the past with other peoples in the industry. Learn from everybody. And it's great, free, spend some time putting it all together in one hub. So makes it nice. And then one more shameless plug. Anyone from California, even if you're not from California, whatever, you can do it too. But got 2 webinars coming up with the California Self-Storage Association, doing like 3 hours, almost like a workshop. Doing one for fixing the rental flow and doing follow-ups, and then doing another one here all about Google Business Profile optimizations. They wanted me to do
That'd
that.
be a good one. When's
Yeah,
that one?
they wanted me to do one in one shot. I'm like, that's a lot to do in an hour and a half. So we split it up. So we're doing 2 separate webinars. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Let me put that link in here for everyone before we hang up. Cool. There you go. It's there for you. Got a
So
couple.
Jim, I want to report, the next show we're on, I want to report or a picture of you at the baseball game at the new stadium.
For you, I'll do it. I'll even put like a baseball hat. I'll do a baseball hat, and because anytime I wear a hat, I look like I'm 10 years old. It looks so weird. I don't do hats very well, but for you, I will. Hey, one more thing for you guys. If everyone's camera's on, cool. I want to take a quick screenshot just to commemorate each one that we do here. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna count of 3. Smile pretty. Turn your cameras on. I want to take a quick screenshot. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you. That's always fun.
Always a pleasure, Jim.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys showed up here. Any final comments before we wrap up? I try to be mindful of everybody's time here.
Kevin, I definitely think we should connect about your land to make sure you at least have a contact or two for your feasibility. I'd hate to see you go down that road of building something and not just for you, but for the industry, market as a whole. If you start oversaturating, it's no good for anybody. So let's see if we can point you in the right direction and have a few, at least reach out to a few people to get you the right information to what you're going to be, whether it's going to be boat and RV combination or what. But like, I think Brian said earlier, you don't want to have all of one and not the other. So.
Yeah, I'll drop my email in the chat. And for anybody that has some input on the feasibility study, please shoot me an email.
Jim, who would you recommend right now? I always went to Matt Van Horn.
Yeah, but I don't know if Matt does the boat and RV.
Yeah.
I mean, for storage.
Does everything.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah, he'll do that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yep. I'll send you this information.
Perfect.
Before I take off, I'll make sure I copy and paste your email. All right.
Hey, Jim, a quick
So
note.
who's all going to be in ISS? Anybody?
I wish I would be at SSA at the end of the year. Not ISS.
SSA 50th. SSA in September is going to be a blast, I think, with the 50th anniversary. I heard it's at the Cowboy Stadium.
Gonna be
Party?
wild.
Hi.
That's
Cowboy.
50.
Oh, the Allegiant Stadium, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
Jim, and we can celebrate your birthday in Vegas.
That's what I say. I'm turning 50, 50th SSA. It works out perfect.
Come on, we're going to celebrate. We'll get you another drink.
I'll have my water, but no.
You can go. We'll let Jess take you for a drink.
Everyone knows I don't drink, so that's like everyone's goal when I go to these conferences is try to.
I don't drink anymore either, Mooney. I quit.
Yeah, but hanging out with you is always an adventure, Jess.
I don't need alcohol.
I know, that's the point.
Cool. All right, it's been an hour. Been a blast.
Thanks, guys.
Thank everyone for jumping on here.
Bye.
Again,
Thanks
2
so
weeks.
much.
So we'll see you in a couple of weeks, guys. Have a
Thanks,
great
everybody.
week. Take care.
Take care, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you.